Welcome back to GBGuns Armory, and I am fresh back from Europe. In fact, we got back about 1 a.m. today. Really long trip. Went to IWA to Outdoor Classics, also to EnforceTac. Also did a bit of visiting in Germany with friends, both new and old. It was a good time. In my last video, talked about how we might kind of vlog it, because a lot of people have asked that Tia and I do more of a vlog style on this channel. And I'm sorry to say we didn't do that. Something about, and you guys are welcome to disagree, but when I'm enjoying a situation or an experience or travel, etc., I prefer to enjoy it rather than interrupt that moment to bust out the camera and then film something. If you want to see some little bits of our journeys, Tia has shared some over on her Instagram account. I took some pictures as well. Didn't put them up there just because the GBGuns Instagram is gun related and not about that stuff. So, IWA Classics. This is my first time going. Happened to be their 50th year. If you're not familiar with it, it's sort of like the European SHOT is the way a lot of people describe it. However, it's got a very different vibe to it, if you will. It's much, much smaller. It's about a third the size of SHOT. We're able to walk everything in the first day. Part of that is because the layout is just much more spacious, easier to get around, and the crowd is smaller. That was one of the big, amazing differences to Tia and I, is SHOT Show has a lot of people there for a lot of reasons, not all of which require attendance or presence at the show to accomplish those things, but I get it, you want to be as open to as many people as possible. IWA Outdoor Classics, a little bit tougher to get into. Also, the European market is considerably smaller. This show is for Europe and the world, but mostly for Europe, and it's being hosted in Germany, a country not known for their freedoms. So, as you can imagine, attendance is also a little bit on the smaller side. What that meant for us, however, was we were able to walk comfortably and leisurely from booth to booth to hit the places we need to hit and talk to people at a pace that was comfortable, that conversations go as they need to and die when they were ready to. Talk to a few different companies that you've seen on this channel, and I will have updates for it over on gbgunsdepot.com. I think what I'm going to do is post those individually by company as updates rather than cram them all into one piece like I did for SHOT Show. The reason I did that for SHOT is I had pre-announced it and set up a link. That link was only going to take you to one place. So each day after SHOT Show, I jammed in some more onto that same article, hit publish changes, and the piece kept expanding and became a rather long one. I think this time, since I'm doing it after the fact, I'm sorry, between jet lag, socializing, and being in Europe, I didn't take the time to get stuff up on the computer. I tried one night and I was just too tired, too worn out. I didn't feel like it was going to be quality work, so I figured I'd wait till I'm back. So watch in the coming weeks. Once I get the first one of those posted, I'll make sure to link it as a pinned comment here, and I'll try to keep that updated as things go on. So who do we talk to that we've got updates for? Of course, Grand Power. You knew that we wouldn't go to Europe without swinging by our good friends at Grand Power. The piece, I think it's P24. I'm trying to remember if I've got the right model number. P24 is a polymer frame striker fired gun taking Glock magazines that is 1 inch wide. That's right, single stack territory on size. T and I had seen some early stuff when we visited the factory last May. We of course couldn't talk about it. Now they've got some pre-production and early production stuff on display for the global market to see. Got some photos of that and some basic specs that I'll be talking about. Some of you have already commented, some of our patrons noted like, hey, striker fired polymer frame. That's not really what we're expecting from Grand Power. True, however, it's still a Grand Power. So while it doesn't quite have that kind of trigger, because it's a striker and striker triggers really can't match hammer triggers, it's still pretty darn good and it feels pretty good in the hand. I was able to get my whole hand on the sample they had there. So check gbgunsdepot.com for that update. We got some quality time with our friends at BUL Armory, seeing the 2024 versions of the SAS2 Ultralight. This is a 23 model, maybe a 22, not sure, as well as the TAC and other updates to their defensive carry line. Some interesting changes, some smart ones. You can expect to see reviews on those as they become available in the US. Spectacular pistols. Really excited to show you guys what's coming there. Ermox. This is a company that just didn't get much introduction in the US. We only bought one because so many people had been asking about a review of it. What is this mysterious Glock clone? It's not a Glock clone. It does take Glock magazines and barrels, but after that, it's a different pistol, and it's aluminum framed and very affordable. Had a great conversation with those guys. Expect to be talking to them more. They made rolling changes since the gun that I reviewed, some of which are already in the States, and they have some big updates, changes, and advancements to this and completely different product lines that hopefully, I hope we can see in the US soon. I'll be doing my darndest to get my hands on them, but if you want to see the rest of what these guys make, check out the article. I admit, when I first saw this and heard of these, I thought, okay, this is a company I've never heard of before. That's strange. Not that I don't know everybody out there, but after 8 years of doing this, I'm kind of familiar with a lot of the industry. Who are these guys? Came out of nowhere. They've got this gun that is Glock-ish, all metal, can't be any good. And as you guys may recall from the review, it turned out to be a great gun. Now, I have heard some of you have had difficulties with yours. We did not experience that, but that may have been different stages in the rolling changes, who knows. But there are definitive other models out there that hopefully will be coming. And what impressed me about their booth and meeting with them is they may be a younger company, and they're definitely new to the US, but it's not some random guy in his garage. There's a serious business behind this, a serious company offering quite a few things. We took a couple shots, had some great conversation. Those updates will be on the site, of course. Another crowd favorite, Canik. I mean, we keep in pretty good contact with Canik, as you guys noticed, since we've covered pretty much every model that is out there. Their new Terran Tactical collaboration was shown at SHOT Show. It was again on display at IWA, but we got to learn some more things about the company, some interesting expansions to the mechanic line that at first I was ready to dismiss, thinking that, okay, it's just more co-branding or rebranded stuff. No, it's stuff designed and made in Turkey by the Mechanic brand, which is a sub-brand or sister company, if you will, of Canik. Really interesting stuff there that I'm hoping will come to the US. Whether or not it does, I'm not sure. But in today's day and age, these types of products are ones that you could probably order and get shipped worldwide anyways. So check that out. And kind of a surprise, Agulu. I finally learned how to pronounce it by someone who works for Agulu. The AHSS FXS9. You guys may recall this review. This pistol really impressed us. Very high quality, nicely made, still affordable and decent gun that just kind of, like so many other imports, people are rightfully wary of whether or not it's a gun they should get into, where they're going to find holsters, etc., etc. I understand all of that. And sadly, what usually dictates how much customer support and aftermarket there's going to be for a gun is whether or not the gun's successful. So it's very much a chicken and the egg challenge for new guns, new gun companies, and definitely imports. But Agulu had great folks on staff there, an interesting selection of pistols. Some updates to this are out there. There's also some other models that I don't think we've seen in the States yet. I don't know if we will. But very good people to talk to who are very serious about making a good product. So that gave me an extra good feeling, just like with the Ermox folks, about saying praises about these guns and recommending them as an option, because they're serious people. It's not just a clone factory cranking out random stuff. They seem to really have some care. I will post about it in the article. I don't know if we'll see more of these in the US or not. This was imported by American Tactical. Don't have a lot of contact with them to know if they plan on continuing more from the same line, if they're going to update, or if that import has been handed off to others, as often happens with imported guns. One company imports them for a couple years, then decides not, then another importer picks them up, and they're all over the place. I do know of another company in the US that is talking about bringing these in. Whether or not they're going to bring in the stuff that we saw at IWA, I don't know. And that brings us to a concluding point of why I didn't want to do a whole bunch of show coverage from that show, and that is the fact that much of what was shown there, be it products or entire companies, is not or may not be in the US market. It's an interesting thing as a gun guy and media to go see. There are US media who love to go and show everything, and that's cool, and it's great that that information is out there. Sometimes that's the stuff that stirs enough interest to get it to the US market. But on GB Guns, we like to talk about what we have and what's achievable, and so I didn't want to get too much spun up about stuff that may or may not be available to you guys. Other than that, if you guys made it this long, you must actually care. Tia and I had a great time. We went to Rothenburg ob der Tauben, Rothenburg ob der Tauben. Sorry, I mixed English and German there. Beautiful medieval city, worth looking up, where we freely walked the wall around the city that was built in 1300. Kind of cool. I had spent 7.5 years in Germany as a soldier. Tia had never been before, so we did some of the more touristy stuff. Hopped a train down to Munich and went to the Hofbräuhaus, where I proceeded to accidentally have a little too much beer. There were a couple of mistaken orders between whether or not I wanted a half liter or a full liter Mass like this. This is water, by the way. And whether or not I wanted the 5% or the 8.5% beer. So I may have had a scolding there after consuming a liter of 8.5% on top of some other stuff. Actually, sorry, 2 liters. Wow. Yeah, that is a lot of beer. Total 4 liters that night. Anyways, also met with some newer industry friends that live in Germany that may result in some cool future collabs and future content far down the road. It takes a while to save up money for these trips. And then met with a friend of mine I hadn't seen in 20 years, well before industry. So that was pretty cool as well. It was a great time. Germany, if any of you are like me, veterans that spent time over there and haven't been back since, had changed a lot in 13 years. It used to feel like a second home to me. This trip, it felt familiar, and I could still speak German and get around and understand systems and culture and things like that. But man, a lot has changed. It may be relieving, may be saddening to hear that Germany is experiencing a lot of the same cultural struggles and strife that we are here in the US when it comes to, let's see if I can say this as neutrally as possible, modern politics disrupting and destroying cultural heritage, the way a country works, and the things that have made the country successful. They're having that too. As are new non-citizens who are not adapting well or not making much progress in adapting to the culture, laws, taxes, etc. of the new place that they're living in. So it was interesting to see that from another perspective and another angle, but it's definitely going on over there. Other than that, it was a pretty good trip. I've been awake way too long. If you guys ever go, I can highly recommend the route we took to get there. We flew out of Portland, Oregon, direct to Amsterdam. That was 8 hours, and then like a 2-hour flight to Nuremberg. Super easy. The way back, to save some money, Tacticades are fighting. We flew to Nuremberg to Paris, an airport I've always been told you should avoid. I've only been there once before, did not like it the first time, did not like it the second time. That was a 3-4 hour flight. Then it was 8 or 9 hours from Paris to New York, another airport that I recommend avoiding. And then from there, another 6 hours back to Portland, and the Portland airport is an hour plus from my place. So long way back. It's part of why I'm waiting so long, and I'm just wearing a white shirt. My hair is crazy, my beard's crazy, and all that. It's been a long time, but I wanted to report to you guys just a little bit, and keep an eye out over at gbgunsdepot.com for those pieces to come out. If you don't like having to check the site all the time, sign up for the email list. The only thing I use that email for is to let people know that there are articles out. You might have noticed there are no ads on that website. There are affiliate links, but not on anything I wouldn't recommend or couldn't find at a decent price. And there are no sales pitches on there as well. It's just for information. When you guys click the affiliate links and we earn 10 cents or $1 or whatever off of whatever purchase was a recommendable product, that's what helps keep that website going, because I do have to pay to host it, and it does consume a lot of my time. That's all I got for you for today. Soon we will resume getting back to the regular armory of going through this room of guns and talking about them and gathering that information. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.